Could you possibly be the jerk for continuously dodging your friend when they say your dad's passing was preventable? We'll get into that in a bit, but first, am I the jerk for dodging my family's calls after they hijacked my daughter's birthday plans? Yesterday was my daughter's birthday, and we decided to celebrate by taking a snow day. The snow is about 2 hours from where we live, so my spouse and I invited both of our families. His side couldn't make it, but my parents and sisters agreed to come. We all met at my house and drove out together. Since it's spring, most of the nearby snow had melted, so we had to drive a bit further to find a snow park. While on the highway, one of my sisters passed us on the passing lane. No big deal. Eventually, my parents and I found a snow park and pulled over. I called my sister to let her know, but she told me she had already parked at a rest area about 10 minutes away. I asked her to come back to the snow park, but she insisted there was snow at the rest area and we could just go there instead. Then my mom called and pushed for us to just go to the rest area too. I gave in and we drove to where my sister was, only to find out that the snow was fenced off and sledding wasn't allowed. We could even get fined for trying. My sister then suggested that instead of snow activities, we go 35 miles further to a nearby city with casinos and fun stuff. I immediately said no. That's not what we came to do, and certainly not how we wanted to spend a kid's birthday. My mom chimed in again, saying my sister's idea sounded great. Again, I said no. So we drove back to the snow park, only to find out that it was closing in less than an hour. When we originally stopped there, we would have had a solid 2 hours. At this point, I was so irritated as the day didn't turn out at all like I thought it would. Then my little sister came over and said that she had called out our parents for the way things played out, but also added that I should have expected the plans to change when I invited them. That was the last straw for me. I cut the conversation short and walked away to avoid saying something I'd regret. I was so livid. We ended up doing something completely different without notifying my family. I also dodged their calls on the way there. My daughter's still little and didn't know the difference, thankfully, but I felt so disrespected and upset. I'm simply at a loss right now. However, now that the day is over, I'm wondering if I'm either overreacting or being a jerk. So, as usual with a bunch of stories like these, you kind of have to operate on the assumption that OP is telling nothing but the truth and including all the pertinent details and whatnot. As long as it went down like OP said, I feel like it's completely understandable that you're going to be upset. I mean, imagine making plans for your little kid's birthday and somebody showing up, essentially screwing the plans up and wasting the day, and then going, well, if you invited us, you should have expected the plans to change. Like, come on now. If OP had made the birthday plans at Hard Rock, would they have to assume that the plans would somehow change then? Because based off of how she acted, I don't think it would. LTK622 commented, "Not the jerk. It was generous of you to include them and generous of you to follow their urgings when they lured you to the rest stop. Their sabotage of your child's birthday was probably careless and thoughtless rather than malicious or conniving, but they did disregard your priorities, they did show minimal effort for your child, and they did move quickly to suggest their own wishes as soon as your plan got frustrated. You should be nice to them and show love when you're in the mood for joining their little world, but you should exclude them from the children's birthdays and any other activities that they don't prioritize. They'll tend to cause harm to things they don't value." Also, hi, I'm Steven, and if you guys enjoy getting to decide whether or not all of these people are jerks, why not hit those like and subscribe buttons down below? Our next story is, am I the jerk for asking my stepmom to give me back my birth certificate? After a couple of weeks of staying with some of my family, my stepmom and siblings, I asked my stepmom to give me my birth certificate. I wanted to keep my documents with me back home in case of emergency. As she opened the folder where she keeps my papers, I noticed there were about 4 copies of it, my high school diploma, some vaccines records, and other personal papers. She was handling the folder and going through them, and if I asked her one, she would think a little and then hand it to me or ask, "Oh, you need this?" and hand it then. I managed to get a little courage. She has always intimidated me. The years I lived with her and my dad and siblings, I always felt and was made to feel like the odd one out. During the good times, they did welcome me somewhat. On bad times, I would feel unwanted and like a visiting unwanted nuisance. So after I got this courage, I asked her calmly to give me everything, all my papers. She wanted to keep 1 copy. I said that I would take them all. New edit, I also noticed by then that she was keeping 2 copies of my naturalization paper, citizenship paper, to the side and out of the folder. It felt like she wanted to keep those too. I took them as well. End edit. She got really emotional and, in our language, she said the equivalent of "I'm being stingy" or "I'm skimping on her." I stayed calm and explained that I just want to keep my papers and that I and my husband agreed to bring back home our documents and put them together. She raised her voice, sounded very upset, and like she was about to cry. My hands were shaking because she low-key scares me, but I stayed calm and I said I hear her, but I'm still taking them. She's more upset, so my sister, her kid, intervened. My stepmom said that I must think she wants to do something bad with it. I said no. My sister explained that it's mine and asked why she needs my birth certificate, and she said that she could need it for, in case she divorces my dad, for whatever paperwork there might be. If my dad dies and the house they live in needs to be split between the kids. As far as I know, I was never part of this equation. I never lived in this house. I'm pretty sure that's their house, and my dad doesn't even live here anymore because they had a huge fight. Part of me kept pushing, though firmly and calmly, because I didn't want anyone to have my documents, and because I felt like I should push myself to stand up to her for what I think is mine. In the end, she said something like, "Fine, take it all. I don't want anything, but if we need something for paperwork, we won't have it." Anyway, she's very upset. I'm scared, and she's my ride to the airport tomorrow. Am I the jerk? Update. After a few sleepless hours, I still took her ride to the airport. I didn't want her to feel even more insulted. During the ride, she apologized for having gotten too excited, but said I hurt her feelings because it shows I don't trust her. As someone suggested, I told her it's not personal. I would have asked the papers out of anyone. I told her I wouldn't stay over at the house of someone I don't trust. I thanked her for having taken care of my documents thus far. She said that she understands, and she's not my mom, she can't make me do things, but that if I was her kid, she would. She said she loves me almost like a daughter. This is news to me. We talk like once a month and mostly initiated by me. I believe at best she just felt moved at that instant, and that she was just trying to take care of the family. She tried to make me feel guilty by saying, "I understand if you don't get it because you didn't grow up with a united family like my kids." Or, "It's clear that you don't trust me because if you did, you wouldn't take your papers." I admit, she succeeded in making me feel bad, but I am also aware that this is emotional manipulation, conscious or unconscious, and I stood by my decision. All in all, I feel proud of myself for standing up for myself, especially with someone who is very good at making you feel guilty and uses words to make herself seem the right one in the situation. I feel like I could give myself my own new scout badge. OP is 1,000,000% not the jerk. I'm not sure what country this actually takes place in, but I highly doubt that there's going to be any paperwork that may pop up that requires them to have OP's birth certificate. And God forbid if it was a situation where they do genuinely, desperately need that. From at least what OP wrote, it doesn't sound like they would be a person to just shield them off, even on top of them not treating OP the best while growing up. Drop Dead First Please commented, "Not the jerk. This is her way of having some form of control or power over you. It isn't about helping you or wanting to have it for a will. It's to hold it over your head in case you would need a copy. You see, I told you that I should have kept a copy. If not for me, where would you be?" Either way, keep her in check on everything. You never know what else she has hidden around the house. Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling my girlfriend I was born in a car? I've been with my girlfriend for over 5 years, which time I've told her a few fairy stories that were more like practical joke time bombs than lies. I always expected them to get found out. You know what I mean. One of them was that I was born in the Australian bush, far from a hospital. True. And when my mother went into labor, my father rushed her to the hospital in his ute, Australian pickup truck. True. But didn't make it on time. False. And had to deliver me himself in the back tray of the ute. False. Being a bushie, he had delivered plenty of calves, lambs, and foals. It wasn't a big deal. I thought it was just a bit funny, and I expected one day to be caught. Anyway, at my parents' place last weekend, my girlfriend brought it up to my father, just in passing. My mother laughed, stopped her, and got her to recite the whole story as I had told it. Instead of everyone laughing at the hoax, they're all mad at me and don't understand what would motivate me to make up such a story. Now my girlfriend won't speak to me. She says she can't trust me and that it's all over. The thing is, that's just one of several pranks I've told her. There are more ticking away. Am I the jerk for pranking her, or does she just not have a sense of humor? So I kind of get OP's perspective here, like they thought it would be funny. I mean, I'm assuming OP's not a career comedian. I'm willing to believe that they didn't expect it to be so like hurtful or explosive. Thing is, OP should absolutely in every way own every bit of it. Say that that was a very just dumb attempt at like a long-term joke, and to immediately own up to all the other ones that they can think of. If anything, OP owning up to it and saying like, yeah, this is actually kind of like this ongoing joking thing I had, may be able to pull them out of the weeds, so to speak, or you know, the Australian bush. Summit Junkie 7 commented, fairy stories equals lies. Pranks equals lies. Practical joke time bombs equals lies. Your girlfriend found out you're a liar. If she stuck around any longer, she'd find out that you're a habitual liar. Like many, possibly most women, she's unwilling to be in a relationship with someone she can't trust. Lies about random crap for no discernible reason can erode trust even more. It makes every single thing you say completely untrustworthy. How could you build a relationship with someone like that? You're the jerk. This is the extremely predictable result of your decisions. You might want to do some serious self-reflection, perhaps with the guidance of a therapist if you can, to understand why you feel compelled to lie before you start another relationship. Our next story is, am I the jerk for laughing at my stepson and ruining his wedding? For context, I've been married to my husband for just over 20 years. We started dating when my stepkids were 5 and 3. Our kids are Adam, 28, stepkid number 1, Ben, 26, stepkid number 2, Charles, 20, David, 17, and Ellie, 13. Adam is getting married at the end of summer to his fiancée, Alice, 27. We've all been very excited for them. All of the kids have roles for the wedding. Charles is the best man, the other 2 boys are groomsmen, and Ellie is a junior bridesmaid. Last weekend, we had a dinner for my husband's birthday. All of the kids attended along with Alice. The topic of the wedding came up again, and this is where it started to go downhill. Ellie brought up that she was so excited to go dress shopping, and that we planned to go to a bigger city in a few weeks to get her a dress, and me a stepmom of the groom dress. At that, Alice looked at Adam sideways and responded that we only needed to worry about one dress, Ellie's. Ellie kind of laughed and said, "What are you expecting mom to wear? A suit?" Alice responded, "OP isn't going. You know, we're keeping our guest list very limited to only family and a few close friends." What? Adam and Alice have been to our house numerous times for holidays, dinners, just to say hi since they've been engaged. This has never been brought up. Pretty quickly, things escalated. The Cliff Notes version is that Charles asked them to clarify if they were choosing to uninvite me now, or if I was never invited. Alice confirmed the latter. Why? Adam said it's because I'm not his mom. Charles, David, and Ellie argued with Adam and Alice that none of them were going to go if I wasn't invited. That it was cruel to leave me out given I've been his parent for a majority of his life and loved him like my own. My husband and I admittedly sat there for a minute just freaking shocked. Adam finally turned to my husband and said, "Well?" My husband told him he wouldn't be going either. Adam then turned to me and asked if I was really going to let everyone ruin his wedding on my behalf. Here's where I might be the jerk. I just laughed. I don't know what came over me, but the entire thing was just so ridiculous that laughing was the only thing I could get out. I told my husband I would be waiting in the car and left, and then promptly bawled my eyes out. Anyway, Charles, David, and Ellie are not talking to Adam. Adam called my husband yesterday to try and smooth things over. He was still adamant that I'm not invited and it's their wedding. He also requested that I apologize for laughing at him. My husband told him tough crap. It's their wedding and they can invite whoever they want, but they can't control who will actually go. He said they owe me an apology and that Adam should be ashamed of himself. I'm getting texts now asking what I did and why I'm being a step monster and ruining the wedding. Am I the jerk? I do feel like there's probably more details that could have been included to help people kind of diagnose this one a little bit more. That said, and I'm wondering how many people might agree with me on this, but it kind of sounds like Alice maybe is influencing this, the way that they reacted there. The whole, oh, well, you're only gonna have to worry about one person. I mean, I don't know if OP did do something or didn't do something over the 20 years that they've been in this guy's life, but considering the reaction from the rest of the family, I doubt it's really justified. How could OP not be considered close enough to be family? Fancy and Fab commented, I feel like there's a lot missing here. You've been married to his dad since he was 8. That's years of elementary, middle, high school, college, 20 years. Is his mother living? Did his fiancé influence him? Just seems odd to not invite his dad's wife of 20 years and call her not family. I don't think you're the jerk, but I just want to know more about the past 20 years. OP responded commenting, I'm sorry, I had to cut out a lot for the character count to post. When Adam called, my husband did ask him if I had done anything, if it was related to Biomom. She has never gotten along with us. If I'd overstepped in any way, Adam says no, it's just they want family only. Stepdad is invited as far as we know. I was a stay-at-home mom for most of my stepkids' childhoods and we had 50-50. My husband has always worked a lot, but has been as involved as possible. The house and child rearing mostly fell to me though. I love our kids to pieces. I thought we had made it clear from the beginning that I am and was another parent that loves them, not a replacement mom. We've never had any issues and I thought up until now that we were particularly close. Our communication has slowed since he met Alice, but he was calling me about once or twice a week prior to this. Alice and I have gone shopping on occasion, gotten lunch. I even went with her to the florist for the wedding because her mom wasn't available and Adam got called into work. There has to be something or someone causing an issue, and my husband and I are baffled. Our next story is, am I the jerk for taking back a toy from another kid at a birthday party? We had guests over for my 5-year-old second cousin's birthday party. Let's call him John. Another kid at the party, around the same age, was also there. A distant relative, let's call him Adrian. Someone gifted John a really cool RC car and he was so excited that he took it to his room to open it before the official gift opening. Adrian followed him into the room. A couple of minutes later, I saw Adrian walking out with the RC car trying to unbox it himself, and his dad was helping him insert batteries and everything. I went to check on John and found him in his room looking upset saying, Adrian took my car. I was honestly pretty annoyed, so I went up to Adrian's dad and told him that John was crying. I then took the toy back and returned it to John. Later I heard Adrian's parents were upset with me. I didn't say anything, but the rest of the party felt awkward. Am I the jerk for stepping in and taking the toy back? Surely, people agree with me when I say Adrian acts exactly like that because of exactly the way the parents acted here. If anything, it was like Adrian was standing in front of a mirror and OP was just talking to their much older reflection. Just let me have his toy car. Possible juror commented, not the jerk. It bothers the heck out of me when people force their kids to share or expect others to give up a toy they're playing with because the other kid wants it. John, make sure you give the toy to Adrian. You have to share, be a good boy, versus, if you want a turn, you can ask. John is having his turn right now. If another adult was having a sandwich, would they be scolded if I came up and tried to take it? Oh, you have to share? No. Anyways, you're not the jerk. If you did that to my kid or for my kid, I would probably thank you for stepping in so I didn't have to. Sounds like you're the better parent for Adrian than whatever the others are doing, if you'd even call that parenting. ETA, so glad other people agree with sharing. My personal way to manage it is getting the other child to find another toy and suggesting they ask to trade. Either the kid will get a toy and forget about the toy, or they'll bring it over and mine will trade. Our next story is, am I the jerk for asking my girlfriend to stop putting castor oil and hair products in her hair right before bed? I, 28-year-old male, have been with my girlfriend, 28-year-old female, for a little over a year. Things are great between us overall. She's smart, funny, kind, and we live together. But there's one issue that's really been bothering me. She has a pretty involved hair care routine, which includes putting castor oil and other hair products in her hair at night, right before getting into bed. Her hair is wet, oily, and heavy with product, and she'll just lie down next to me like that. I really don't like how it feels. It's sticky and uncomfortable when we're close. The smell of the castor oil is strong, and I don't love it. On top of that, it stains the sheets and sometimes my clothes if her hair touches them. It's not a one-time thing. This is a nightly habit. I brought it up gently a few weeks ago. I told her I totally get that her hair routine matters, but that maybe she could do it earlier in the evening or wrap her hair before bed so it doesn't get everywhere. She didn't get mad, but she also hasn't changed anything. It's like it went in one ear and out the other. I'm starting to feel like I'm being inconsiderate by even bringing it up. I know hair care, especially for certain hair types, is a big deal, and I don't want to be the guy who's asking her to compromise on that, but at the same time, I'm genuinely uncomfortable and it's starting to affect how I feel in our shared space. So, am I the jerk? Honestly, I think OP's being pretty sensitive to the issue. They don't want to rock the boat, they don't want to upset their partner, they don't want to in any way make their partner's hair care routine feel inaccessible or impossible to do. But I also don't blame OP for not wanting to get castor oil all over the pillows and themselves and their clothes when they crawl into bed at night. At this point, it's a partnership between OP and their partner, and I think it's a pretty fair thing to ask for and even maybe expect some kind of compromise to be worked out here. Princess Shira commented, "Not the jerk. Her hair shouldn't be wet and oily and dripping with product, and she shouldn't be using it more than once a week. I used to use coconut oil, but I would take a small amount and really massage it into the hair so it wasn't oily, and she should definitely wrap her hair or sleep with a bonnet." Our next story is, am I the jerk for expressing my disgust at a dish from my girlfriend's culture? My 27-year-old male girlfriend, 24-year-old female, is Brazilian, and since we got together, she's been introducing me to her country's cuisine, and I've loved everything she's made and I've tried so far. But last night, she took me to a Brazilian steakhouse, and at some point she asked the waiter for a dish that they didn't serve here, but apparently is a staple in Brazilian barbecues. It was only later that she explained to me that she was asking for chicken hearts, and because they didn't have it, she later told me that she would try and find it in the Brazilian store she usually goes to and make it at home, but I told her not to bother and that I wasn't interested in trying it. She couldn't understand why I wasn't interested, so I told her that the whole idea of eating chicken hearts sounded a bit icky. That's the word I remember saying. She later said that I told her it was disgusting. So I can't be sure, but the intention is the same anyway, and she got really upset and told me about how eating organs is not unusual in many cultures, and that even if I didn't want to try it, framing it as disgusting was disrespectful on my part. But I only said anything because she kept pushing for an explanation, so I don't know what she expected me to do. To lie? So I'm willing to go not the jerk here, I'm willing to concede that to OP, but I do think it's about just kind of like the overall presentation of their phrasing and what they said. Like, to be honest, I think it's completely fair that if somebody hears, "Oh, let's eat some chicken hearts," their honest to God reaction is, "That sounds disgusting to me." Could they have dressed it up nicer? Certainly, but is OP an outright jerk for saying, "Eating that organ sounds disgusting to me"? I mean, if you really want to play that technicality game, let's swap it around with a few other things, and I'm sure at some point what is a delicacy to some people might be something you would say that does sound disgusting, like Rocky Mountain oysters. You know, deep fried Bull's dangly parts. Like, certainly there's some kind of food out there that to a certain culture is an absolute lovable delicacy that your true thought at the core of your mind is, "That sounds disgusting." Does it make OP the jerk for saying the truth of how they feel? Slappy Slapsticker commented, "Phrasing, my man, phrasing. You could have said something more neutral like, 'It's not something I want to try. While I can see other people might enjoy it, it really doesn't sound appealing to me,' or the like. Labeling it as icky probably didn't land well, as you can now tell. Not the jerk, maybe work on more neutral phrasing though." Miss Beezy commented, "Similarly, your girlfriend has to accept you come from a culture where eating organs is not part of your norm, and you're having an understandable disgust reaction. I always say that you shouldn't yuck someone's yum, but if someone pushes you to eat something you don't want and you have to give a stronger answer, so be it. On the other hand, your girlfriend is trying to share something that is a big connection to home. Flavors and dishes from home are important, not the jerk." Our next story is, would I be the jerk for canceling a hotel booking I made with people I no longer speak to anymore? I, 20-year-old female, made a hotel booking for myself, my sister, 15-year-old female, and 3 other girls, 20-year-old female, back in October for a concert in June. However, since December, I had an argument with one of the girls that led to her ignoring me and no longer speaking to me, with the other 2 seemingly taking her side and the 3 of them ostracizing me from the group. This led to me moving out of the flat we shared, and since then, none of them attempted to contact me and seemed to just get angry with me over every little thing I do. I tried multiple times to apologize and amend things with them, which only resulted in them either ignoring me or dismissing the issue as nothing and pretending nothing was wrong. That was a very, very shortened summary of what happened, and I've come to the conclusion that I do not want to make amends with these people and do not want to speak to them anytime soon for the way they've treated me. Here's the big issue: I don't want to stay at the same hotel as them for this concert in June. The advice I received from almost everyone in my life is to cancel the booking and rebook another hotel for me and my sister. They think it's an appropriate response to the way they've treated me these past 6 months. I don't like this option because I would feel obliged to tell them that I'm canceling the booking, which would undoubtedly start an argument that I'm not mentally prepared to handle. It's a refundable pay-on-the-day booking that can be canceled up to a week before the stay. I booked 2 rooms, one for my sister and I, and the other for them. My initial plan was to cancel one of the rooms and transfer the booking of the other room to them. However, I've been told that my card will still be attached to the booking, and that it might not even be possible to do this without talking to any of them about it. I'm starting now to want to cancel the booking altogether and book something else for my sister and I, as I know for a fact they will not sort anything out for themselves or talk to me about this until the very last minute. A lot of people have been telling me that I need to grow a backbone and let them deal with the consequences of refusing to communicate with me for over half a year now. Would I be the jerk for doing this? Happy to give more context. If OP has no desire talking to these people, communicating with these people, being around these people, what obligation does OP truly have to even try to contact them or let them know after they cancel that reservation? Like, truly, what does OP actually care at that point? I'd say OP's not the jerk. Jocelyn1973 commented, "Cancel it, but tell them when you'll do that. Like, I will cancel the hotel room on Thursday at 6 p.m. So if you want to make your own reservations, you can contact the hotel before then and ask them to hold the room for you. Or if you prefer, you can make other arrangements for yourselves. I don't need an answer to this message. I trust you are now informed." Not the jerk. This next story is, am I the jerk? I keep dodging my friend because she says my dad's death was preventable. For some background, we didn't know that my father was sick. He had been having some gas issues and his doctor put him on new medication, so my family just assumed that that was why he was having stomach aches. One day, out of the blue, my dad was having a really bad stomach ache, so we rushed him to urgent care. We thought that they would just give him some gas medicine and that he would come home with us. He never came out of the hospital. The doctors tried giving him surgery, but it was unsuccessful. We found out that he had cancer all over his body and he was hooked up to about 12 to 14 machines trying to keep him alive. My mother stayed with him and we decided to take him off the machines because the doctor said he was too far gone to save anymore, that he was in pain being alive. After he passed away, I transferred colleges and started my first semester. I met a girl who I thought was my friend, and when she asked about my family, it came out that my dad passed away. She immediately asks what happened, and the first thing that comes out of her mouth after I tell her what happened is, "Wow, you don't even seem sad." And if I ever lost my dad, I don't know what I would do. She also starts asking me about the details of my dad's death, specifically about the part of us having to let him go, and says this, "Don't you think you could have saved him? It feels like you gave up on him. And he probably could have woken up if you gave him time." Like, what? I even told her that the doctor said that all his organs shut down, and she still insisted that my family was heartless to take him off the machines and we could have saved him. If there was any way to bring back my father, I would do it in a heartbeat. I miss him and think about him every day. The fact that she accused me of first not caring and then saying that he could have been saved was absolutely baffling. Here's where I might be the jerk. I was completely appalled and I haven't spoken to her since. She keeps asking me to go out to parties with her and I keep dodging her. I feel like a complete jerk avoiding her and I think she's getting upset I keep dodging her. So Reddit, am I the jerk? Also, I forgot to mention that she might have been saying this because of a religious thing. She just came here this semester from another country, and I forgot to mention in my previous post, she said that taking him off the machines and ventilator was playing God. I personally don't believe this because he was able to breathe for about an hour before taking his last breath and passing without any help. Edit, first of all, thank you all for the well wishes and for sharing your own stories. It felt very nice to have all of your support, and I know your loved ones were lucky to have you. On to the story. So, instead of telling her outright that her words have lived rent-free in my head, I found that if she's malicious, she would enjoy knowing she got to me, so I took a different approach. I heard a comment speak about gray rocking in the comments, and I thought I could use that. So when she sat next to me in class, I ignored her. When the professor put us in a group together, I spoke one word to her and only showed her what I was doing by letting her see my computer screen. Afterwards, she told me she was going to the cafeteria after she saw me ordering food on my phone. I told her I was going home and proceeded to walk to the cafeteria with her nearby. She seemed as upset and confused as I was when she spoke about my dad. Thank you all for the advice given, as well as the copious amounts of love and support from all of you. I'll update this post if anything else occurs. No, yeah, religion or not, I don't think that's something you say to another person that you would consider a friend. Even if truly in your heart, in your religion, you believe that they had made a misstep, it's happened, it's done, it's well in the past. For them to say to OP, you don't even seem sad. As if OP has to have this lingering rain cloud over their head anytime the mere mention of their father comes along. Like they have to have this lifelong regret that they feel bad about. That's not a friend's behavior, is it? Our next story is, am I the jerk for refusing to babysit my girlfriend's friend's kid because I'm home anyway? So I, 26-year-old male, work from home. My girlfriend's 24-year-old female friend has a 4-year-old kid, and she recently asked if I could just keep an eye on him during the day because, you know, I'm home anyway and it's no big deal. I said no. She got super offended and said it wouldn't be real babysitting, just keeping an eye while she runs errands or whatever. I explained that I'm working, like actually working, not just chilling with Netflix, and watching a kid would 100% mess with my job. My girlfriend thinks I'm being a little harsh and says it's just a one-time favor for her friend. I said if I mess up a project because I'm chasing a 4-year-old around, will her friend pay my bills? Thought so. Now her friend is apparently upset and thinks I hate kids. I don't, I just don't want a side quest while I'm trying to work. Am I the jerk? So the funny thing is, I don't think OP's the jerk even if they just don't like kids. Like, it's a pretty normal stance for some people to be like, I don't really like kids, I don't want kids around, or at least other people's kids. It's just all around not an obligation OP has to do or feel obligated to. I say for anybody out there that's saying OP would be the jerk, I hope they're stepping up to volunteer their time wherever possible too. Our next story is, am I the jerk for agreeing to help a woman beggar at a grocery store and then bailing on her? I was going into my local grocery store to get a few things, and a woman outside stopped me and asked if I would get something for her kids. I would prefer to buy something from a store than give out money because I know exactly what it's being used for, not drugs or alcohol, so I agreed. She insisted on coming into the store with me. We go in, and she beelines it to the laundry aisle and picks out the most expensive detergent, around $30 to $40. She tells me she needs to wash her daughter's clothes. I reluctantly agreed and started walking her towards the checkout. Then she starts saying that she hasn't washed her hair and picks out a shampoo, soap, and conditioner. Not the grocery store brand either that's fairly cheap, but the name brand stuff. It seemed like she just was intentionally picking out the most expensive items in the aisle. I get in line and she joins me with like 7 or 8 things now in her arms, probably adding up to $80 to $100. I froze for a minute, not knowing what to do. It was a long line that day, so I had a few minutes to process. Finally, I just told her that I was sorry and walked out with her standing in line holding the items. I walked a few streets over to a smaller grocery store and got everything I needed. My gut tells me that she was trying to rip me off, but I also felt awful thinking about the look on her face as I turned to leave and how embarrassing it must have been for her to be stood in line after that or putting the items back. The money wasn't insignificant, but it wouldn't have been missed from my account. I would have liked to have done something nice for someone, but the whole experience felt off, and now I'm worried I did the exact opposite of a good deed and left someone hanging. Am I the jerk? I feel like you could maybe make an argument for OP being the jerk just in the sense that they allowed this to go on for as long as they did. Like when it got to the aisle, it's like, okay, shampoo, sure, you need it. And I completely understand not being like the most socially confident person, you know, wanting to speak up and advocate for yourself. But you kind of have to if you're gonna be footing the bill and they're beelining for like the Garnier or whatever. Look, I'm gonna help you out, but you gotta be happy with the Scalps and Ankles store brand. Zorby commented, I find it pretty hard to believe that a homeless person only wanted 1, detergent that sells super well on the streets or Facebook Marketplace, and 2, the most expensive shampoos and soaps possible. That woman was 100% testing to see if you would stop her after the expensive detergent, and when you seemed to be a sucker, she tried to get the most she could out of you. 3, no food or medicine? You'd think on the streets that would be the hardest to get. Our next story is, am I the jerk for reporting my friend to the university after he cheated using my notes? I, 22-year-old male, am in med school and have this friend, let's call him Jake. We've studied together a few times and I've shared my annotated notes with him before a big exam. I made them myself with diagrams, explanations, and even some mnemonics I came up with. A few weeks later, one of our professors used one of my made-up mnemonics in a lecture, crediting an anonymous student. I was confused. Turns out Jake had submitted my notes with his name on them to the professor's student tips portal, where students can share study tips for extra credit. He didn't even mention me. I confronted him, he brushed it off and said, "It's just notes, chill." So I reported it to the Academic Honesty Office, since it technically falls under plagiarism. Now he's under investigation and might lose the extra credit, or worse. Our mutual friends are calling me petty and saying that I could have just talked to him. Am I the jerk? OP's not the jerk here, and anybody saying that to OP either clearly doesn't understand the circumstances or clearly has some huge bias. You could have just talked to him, OP. I did, he said it's just notes. I feel like OP almost has to report him, not to keep him honest or call out his cheating, but just to retain the ability of having that acknowledgement that it's actually OP's work, or if OP wanted the extra credit themselves, it wouldn't really be accessible if OP's notes were already in the system. And most importantly, lastly, if OP later on down the road submitted their own notes, they could be accused of plagiarizing the friend. Puzzle-headed Age 240 commented, "You're in med school. He needs to be held to a higher standard, not a lower one. It's alarming that someone with such poor judgment is a med student. You did the right thing. You don't know what else he's been doing to skirt the rules and expectations. What are those few extra credit points or the difference between him graduating or not? He would literally have lied his way into a field that requires integrity and sound judgment, not the jerk." OP responded commenting, "Yeah, that's exactly what was bothering me. I kept thinking, if he's willing to take credit for someone else's work over a few extra points, what else is he willing to cut corners on? We're going into a field where trust and integrity are everything. I didn't want to be the one to escalate things, but it felt wrong to just let it slide. Appreciate you saying this." Our next story is, am I the jerk for not complimenting my friend's weight loss? I, 41-year-old female, have been friends with Kelly, 40-year-old female, since we were in middle school. She's been overweight for most of her life. Her highest was around 350 pounds. For context, I've been mostly around the 150 to 180 pound range since high school. Kelly has tried over the years all the diet trends you can think of and nothing has really worked. She'll get going pretty well and then stop and gain the weight back. I would always compliment and encourage her while she was losing, but she mentioned this makes her feel slightly self-conscious and gets discouraged to keep going, since she feels like she's being treated differently. A little over a year ago, she really went all in. No fads or quick fixes, just changed her eating habits, committed to a walking plan and strength training and other stuff. I'm not sure how much she's lost, but it has to be at least 100 pounds. So proud of her. While at a party thrown at my house, one of the guests who had not seen Kelly in a while complimented her for working hard and losing weight. Kelly responded, "At least someone is happy for me. My so-called friend hasn't said anything about it and doesn't seem to care." I was taken aback and reminded her what she told me about praise. She said I was just being a jerk and felt jealous about her meeting her goals and should have still gave at least some encouragement. So now I'm confused and wondering if I should have found a way to cheer her on. Am I the jerk? OP's not the jerk here. If I was OP, I would want to be rooting my friends on too, and I would in no way want to hurt them when it comes to them bettering themselves or getting themselves more healthy. So OP did what they thought was the best thing they could do and what their friend told them to do. For them to turn around and be like this tropey evil villain that's like, "Now that I made it big and have all this success, you just want a piece of the pie. You were never a real friend." Except usually in those tropey movies, they have somebody in their ear buzzing to them, brainwashing them that their friend really wasn't their friend all along. Nefarious Planet commented, "Not the jerk, geesh. She explicitly told you that she felt uncomfortable with the compliments, so you stopped. You had no way of knowing that it changed, and she's ridiculous for publicly calling you out at a party instead of coming to you as a friend and saying, 'Hey, this hurt my feelings.' Is this out of character for her? If so, it couldn't hurt to give it a couple of days and then check in. Losing a large amount of weight like that is a change I have a hard time wrapping my head around as someone who's never been overweight. So I can imagine a change like that throwing someone off kilter and bringing up unexpected emotions as they learn to navigate the world in a new body." OP responded commenting, "That's my thing too. I'm not sure how one feels being her size and getting treated differently, so maybe there should have been some sympathy. I just didn't want her to stop progress for health reasons." Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling my sister that my dad isn't her dad? So me, 16-year-old female, and my sister, 14-year-old female, let's call her Rosie, have different dads. Our mom and my dad split up a while ago, and my mom got with her dad when I was 2 because she was pregnant with Rosie. My dad was devastated and tried to, My mom got full custody of me, and I always resented Rosie and my stepdad for that. My stepdad was never a bad father, always spoiling Rosie and wanting to spend time with her, which led to her becoming very bratty. My dad only just came back into my life a couple of months ago as the court ruled for visits every week. My dad would always try and do something special just for us two, but Rosie would always join. My dad was stunned and asked my mother privately and politely if she could stop her, but my mom refused, and my dad was much too polite to ask Rosie to leave directly, and I got really angry every time she ruined our special visits that I asked my dad to stop coming. He was heartbroken, but I couldn't take her ruining our trips, and I was mad at my dad for not stopping her. When Rosie asked when my dad was coming to take us out again, I snapped and told her that my dad isn't her dad and that she's got her own. She ran out crying, and my mom said that she was only trying to bond with me. So, am I the jerk? OP is definitely not the jerk here, but I sincerely, after making this Reddit post, hope that OP reaches out to their dad and they can start figuring some things out to do without Rosie. Maybe OP saying that to Rosie and Rosie running out crying was the metaphorical bandage that needed to be ripped off. Maybe it'll be possible now. I know OP's only 16 years old, but maybe if the dad isn't the one that's going to be able to stand up to Rosie, OP needs to put their foot down and say, look, you're not coming along. Tofu Propaganda commented, not the jerk. But you should reach out to your dad and let him know the reason behind why you asked him to stop visiting if he doesn't know already. Your mom is failing both you and Rosie by not having better boundaries. You deserve alone time with your dad. You could set aside time to bond with Rosie that doesn't include your dad, as he has no bearing within her life and shouldn't be forced to take her. I would suggest trying to talk to your mom about this, stating that you want to bond with your dad. Rosie's preventing that. Instead, you can suggest an outing for you, Rosie, and your mom to her. Senior Fisherman 8620 commented, yes, she hasn't seen dad in a decade. She needs time to bond. Much less how sadistic it is to force him to take the love child that broke up his marriage and caused him to be taken from his kids with him while he's trying to catch up with his daughter's life. It's like rubbing everything that he went through into his face. And the fact that the sister's allowed to throw a fit and still be backed by the mom? That is horrid. Shame. Mom sucks the most here, but sister learned it from her and is in close second. Our next story is, am I the jerk for refusing to give money to my brother to save his daughter? I refused to give $100,000 to my brother to fund his legal custody battle. Am I the jerk for this? My brother called me out of the blue one day. We've been living in different countries for many years and we're often not in touch. He's been going through divorce and custody battle for a long time. The divorce is really ugly. Both he and his ex-wife are extremely similar, being stubborn, argumentative, and always right. They are both ex-army. So my brother asks for $100,000. Specifically, it's for the newest set of lawyers, quote, to conduct a last all-out custody battle. He explains it's like a military strategy and explains it's a last stand and about showing strength. According to his new lawyers, it is completely unwinnable, not recommended, a waste of time, and he's better off accepting the hard truth and saving the money. I would personally agree with the lawyers based on what I was told by my brother, yet he insists it's the only thing left to do. He also said that there is no way that he could pay it back. My view was, if it's life or death, then yes, but it's not, and it would only hurt everyone making this last stand. There's just no way here. I wouldn't say OP's the jerk here, and in fact, if OP even begins to consider this, I would say OP is the fool. When the lawyers themselves who are asking for $100,000 of your money are telling you, this is unwinnable, I do not recommend you do this, you don't do it. This ain't the Alamo. We gotta put up a last stand for our country, for my children. That's about the part where the camera pans out and reveals this guy was just kind of talking to himself in a militaristic fashion, and everybody else is around him just shaking their head. A non-apparent 52 commented, "Not the jerk. What does he mean showing strength? Custody is about the kids, not him. According to his new lawyers, it's completely unwinnable, not recommended, a waste of time, and he's better off accepting the hard truth and saving the money." There's your answer. Save the money. Our next story is, am I the jerk for canceling Easter? My mother-in-law, Susan, and my sister-in-law, Megan, my husband's brother's wife, do not get along. Apparently they used to, but at some point after having kids, things got strained between them and they've had a negative relationship for years. After a year-long battle with breast cancer, Megan's mom passed away a few months ago. Unexpectedly, her father passed away in the same weekend. It's been a really hard time for Megan and my brother-in-law, and my husband and I have offered to help in any way we can. Susan was snowbirding, vacationing down south during the winter when the deaths occurred. Even though she's known Megan's parents for 15 plus years, she didn't come back for the funerals and sent a condolence card a month after the funerals took place. She never called Megan directly, only spoke to my brother-in-law about anything going on, and passed messages through him. Other borderline shady things have happened since the funeral, but this is the straw that's breaking the camel's back. Yesterday was Grandparents' Day at my nephew's school. They both had expressed that they weren't sure if they even wanted to go to the school, but since Susan signed up to go, the kids decided they would go. Megan is a teacher at the school, which is small. Susan didn't say a word to her the entire day. Megan went to my nephew's classroom to check on him and found out Susan had taken both kids home with her 30 minutes prior without saying a word to Megan. Susan taking them was planned, but having to find out from your coworker that your children are gone is not something you expect. Megan texted Susan to ask what happened, and Susan said Megan was talking to someone else and she didn't want to bother her, so they left. Megan pushed back, saying that Susan never came over to her classroom and she shouldn't be taking the kids without telling her. Susan then claimed she was doing Megan a favor, so she shouldn't be upset. My husband and I are furious with Susan. Not only is she normally annoying with her animosity towards Megan, but her parents just died, and this was a tough day. A day her parents would have normally been at the school to see their grandkids. We're supposed to go to Susan's for Easter tomorrow, but I want to cancel. My husband doesn't think we should get in the middle of it, but I'm of the mindset that someone needs to stand up for Megan and put Susan in her place. I truly don't think she's going to stop treating Megan poorly until she starts facing some consequences to her actions. There are so many more details I could dump into this to show how crazy Susan is towards Megan, but I don't want to make this any longer than it is. So, am I the jerk if I cancel Easter and stand up for Megan? One more story. At Christmas, Susan made 2 lasagnas for dinner, one for Megan's house, who hosted, and one for the rest of us to eat at Susan's house. She made us all leave Megan's at 2 p.m. and go to her house without Megan, the brother-in-law, or the kids, so she could have her own Christmas. It's probably gonna rock the boat, but as long as you're happy and fine with rocking the boat, I don't think you're the jerk for standing up for Megan. I mean, like OP said, somebody's gotta do it, right? Maleficent Paws 4761 commented, "As one who has been the Megan of your story, not the jerk if you take action to stand up for the Megan in your life. I wish someone in my life had done so for me, besides my husband. Staying civil with Susan makes you a silent bystander who's allowing someone you care about to be mistreated. It is essential to take action in a way that makes it clear that Susan is being excluded due to her behavior, and that she will not be included until she changes her behavior. Through text is good because you have written documentation of exactly what was said. I second what others have said. definitely still celebrate with your own family, hubs and kids, and bring brother-in-law and Megan and the kids over and have a lovely celebration together. Also, your mother-in-law sounds very emotionally immature. All adults involved may benefit from books like Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, available through your local library, most likely. It especially may open your husband's eyes as to why this behavior is highly inappropriate and very hurtful. Everyone else will probably find a lot of comfort and support in that book. Best of luck to you all. Our next story is, am I the jerk because I put a pan in the sink after my husband used it? My husband fries an egg in a Teflon pan using olive oil most mornings. He always leaves the oily pan on the stove with residual bits of cooked egg in it. I usually take the pan, wipe the oil, and put it in the sink to be washed next time I or the kids do dishes, which isn't as often as I would like. We both work full-time. To prevent me from putting it in the sink, he has started to put the oily pan in the drying rack next to the sink, which I noticed today due to the pool of oil collecting under the rack. I told him dirty dishes don't go in the drying rack. He then said that the pan is clean since cooked oil doesn't have bacteria, and it's worse to put dishes in the sink because the sink has more bacteria. I acknowledge the sink likely has more bacteria. I would just rather have used dishes contained to one location rather than on the stove. Am I the jerk because I insist on the pan being placed in the sink, or should I be okay with leaving it out? Honest question. Hope he's not the jerk here. I don't understand his whole complaining about the bacteria. Who cares how much bacteria is in the sink? You're gonna clean it first, right? Like, his reaction here almost just downright makes me concerned. What does he want to do? Wake up the next morning and just keep using the same dirty pan? Even just doing that 2 days in a row makes me feel particularly gross. You gonna just scrape off the extra pieces of egg from the previous day and reuse the oil? See, mycologist 4936 commented, not the jerk at all. Even if he was right about the bacteria, it's still full of food gunk that has to be washed out before it's used next time. Unsurprisingly, I was able to guess that he probably just leaves the pan to be magically cleaned somehow before the next time he uses it, before reading that in the text. Our next story is, am I the jerk for calling my sister moronic for considering giving up her college offer to stay with her boyfriend? Please help, because I feel like I'm watching my sister throw her life away. I'm a 23-year-old female, and my sister Anna is 18. Anna is a senior in high school and has always been a really great student. Smart, passionate, etc. She's on her school's robotics team and wants to study engineering in college and has perfect grades in math and science. A few weeks ago, we were ecstatic when Anna announced that she had gotten into a top engineering school. It's out of state and expensive, but she was offered a partial scholarship, and with financial aid, it should be affordable. Our grandparents also offered to pitch in to cover any additional costs so that the financial burden would be taken off of Anna. When Anna found out that she had gotten in, she was over the moon. But recently, I've noticed a change in how she talks about it, and she doesn't seem excited anymore. After she went for a tour last weekend for accepted students, she sounded miserable when I called her. A few days ago, my mom told me that she overheard a conversation between Anna and her boyfriend. She has been dating this guy, Joe, 19-year-old male, since she was a sophomore and he was a junior. He now goes to a local college about 20 minutes away from our town. He seems like a perfectly nice guy, and smart too. But apparently, if she goes away to school, he'll break up with her because he doesn't want to do long distance. Apparently, their initial plan was that she would go to the same school as him and they would live together and then get married as soon as they graduate. When I FaceTimed with Anna yesterday, I immediately confronted her about this. When I asked if this was why she seemed so sad about her acceptance, she initially denied it, but eventually broke down and told me that she was considering going to the local college instead. She tried to justify it by saying that it would be less money and closer to home anyway, but I told her that it would be a horrible decision to forfeit an incredible opportunity to go to a top school just for some guy, and she would regret it. She told me that she was really excited to get in, but she didn't want Joe to break up with her because she would never find anyone else. I told her that it was absolutely moronic to give up an amazing opportunity that she fully earned and sacrifice all the doors it could open for her just to be with a guy. She started crying more and hung up on me. Now she won't answer my texts. I feel terrible. I know I was harsh, but it seemed like it was something she needed to hear. If she didn't like the school and genuinely wanted to stay local, I would totally support her. I love Anna so much and want the best for her and want to support her no matter what. But I can also see that she will likely regret giving this up just to be with her boyfriend who doesn't even want to slightly compromise. From my perspective, the right person would be supportive of her accomplishments, not diminish them. I don't know. Maybe I was out of line. Am I the jerk? OP's not the jerk. I feel like they're giving some real truth bombs to her, and I mean, when you're that age and you're in a relationship, especially one of multiple years, you feel like that is your world. You feel like ending that relationship means giving up on your entire future and there's no way you'll ever find anything like that ever again, but that's just not true. And I feel like it's a situation where even if that 18-year-old kid feels like I'm being selfish by choosing my future here, that's like one of the prime times to encourage them to be selfish. Achieve what you want to achieve in life, then worry about that relationship. Our next story is, would I be the jerk for telling my roommate to stop ordering DoorDash? This is complicated, so bear with me. I, 45-year-old female, am a single mom, a full-time college student, and I own my home. At the end of last year, a friend, 35-year-old male, reached out to me because he was in dire straits. He had been laid off from his job, tech industry, ran out of his severance package, and his unemployment was almost up. His lease on his apartment was up at the end of the year, and he wouldn't be able to afford to renew. So I offered to let him move into my office for $300 a month to cover his utility usage while he tried to get back on his feet. I also said that he's welcome to eat dinner with us anytime I cook, most nights, and anything else he wants to eat, I'll get with the groceries if he Venmos me the cost. As soon as he moved in, he started door dashing and then got a part-time job delivering pizza. He still doesn't have a full-time job in his industry. I feel like I made a pretty solid offer, and ultimately the goal was for him to live cheap and save his money. Instead of eating with the household and contributing to groceries, he's gotten into a habit of ordering DoorDash, sometimes twice a day. He's spending significantly more on takeout for himself than I'm spending to feed the whole household. I know he's his own adult, and I don't have the right to control how he spends his own money, but at the same time, I feel like I'm making sacrifices to provide him a home, and while I don't expect anything extra in return for that, I do feel like the premise of him being here is based on him saving money, which he's clearly not doing. So would I be the jerk if I told him to stop ordering takeout and eat from the kitchen instead? Edit, fixed a typo. ETA for those commenting about local rent. We're in Austin, Texas. I'm not going to lambast OP and say, oh, they're going to be the jerk for telling this guy, hey, you probably shouldn't spend so much on DoorDash. But OP should probably be redirecting what they're truly wanting here, which is to put more pressure on them to actually kind of live up to the agreement they're kind of making. Tangerine Bouquet commented, what you need to tell him is that it's time for him to move out. If he has the money to order DoorDash, he has the money to pay rent somewhere else. You're right that you don't get to tell an adult how to spend, but you do have the right to end this arrangement that isn't working for you. Stop making sacrifices, give him notice. Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling my girlfriend's mother she's horrible? Okay, so throwaway because my girlfriend uses Reddit and I don't need her to know I hate her mom yet. So I, 19 meters, male, LOL, have a girlfriend, 19-year-old female. She's the kindest, sweetest person in the world, genuinely. My problem is my girlfriend's mother. She's a horrible old lady and I hate her with every fiber of my being. She's so mean to my girlfriend no matter how much she does for her mom. Like yesterday, my girlfriend was sick and I went to go see her. She's got her period and the flu, so it's like a war zone. She's throwing up, can barely walk, and crying 24/7. I spend most of the day with her since I work night shift and she had sick leave. And the whole reason she's sick is because of her brothers. Her mom literally rubbed her brothers, made them soup, and coddled them the whole time they were sick, but she gave not one single freak today. My girlfriend was throwing up the whole day. Not once did she ask if she was okay or if she needed anything. She acted like it was an inconvenience and my poor baby was crying. How can you treat your own daughter like this? Here's where I may be the jerk. As I was leaving, my girlfriend was asleep in her room and her mom was downstairs coddling her little brother. I stopped and I asked her to just check on my girlfriend through the night to make sure she's okay, and she gave me such a dirty look, and like it genuinely ticked me off. I told her she's a horrible mother who for some reason hates the child who does the most for her and treats her lazy, unhelpful sons like the sun shines out of their butts, and then left. My girlfriend hasn't messaged me yet to berate me, so maybe that's good, but am I the jerk? Honestly, I think the only person not the jerk here is the girlfriend. I think the mom clearly is showing some kind of favoritism. Could they do more for their daughter? Absolutely. Are they doing enough for their daughter? I think most people would say no. It's definitely sad and disappointing to see how little care the daughter gets compared to the brothers, but did it justify OP saying and acting the way they did? I mean, here's the biggest problem here. OP acting the way they did? Maybe it was fair criticism, maybe it was something that mom needs to hear, but what is that actually going to do for the girlfriend? Is that mom, after hearing what OP said, going to turn around and start caring? I don't think so. Is it going to influence her to just double down and make things potentially worse for the girlfriend? Possibly. With a person acting the way that mom supposedly does, it wouldn't be shocking if that's exactly what they did. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another absolutely crazy Am I the Jerk Here story, check out that video on the left. Or if you missed my latest video, check out that video on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.